Hello, welcome to another Becoming a Modern Man. Once again we are playing Jeskai Control, and this time we are running up against the dreaded Eldrazi, the blue-red version of the deck. I was actually concerned that we weren't going to run into an Eldrazi in the testing of this deck. I didn't actually run into it while playing the League until the very last game, so definitely wanted to test this match out to see if our deck was any good against it. Obviously we don't know that our opponent is on Eldrazi just yet. This is game 1 and this is our opening hand. It's a little bit ugly, but in theory we can just go counter and then hopefully we'll draw into some lands during that time and build into something a bit more, so this is a reasonable keep. It leads off with the Ivugin, which obviously indicates Eldrazi deck in general. Unlikely that Tron would ever lead off with an Ivugin. Of the Seagate Wreckage, which isn't a card I've seen much in Eldrazi decks. Don't know whether it's any good for them. I suppose they can empty their hand fairly quickly, so it kind of works, but I haven't seen it in other lists, so not sure about that one. But it has a Matter Reshaper, which is a bit frustrating. I see fairly large creature, and when we kill it, they get some value, either drawing a card or putting something straight into the battlefield if it's a land or anything that costs under 3. We just Spell Snare, which is probably the worst card we have in our deck against them. Don't think they really have any 2-drops to speak of. Pardon me. So that's not so great. We have to play Sacred Foundry and tap, so we've got our Mana Leak up for whatever he's going to play. Attack for 3, down to 15. And the Matter Reshaper tries to come down, but we're going to leak that. Obviously, we've got a lot of leaks, and don't think he's going to have anything else. Play his turn. Reality Smash tries to come down as well. And the following turn, obviously, that's also going to eat a leak. But we are not drawing lands, which is a bit of a problem for us. Going down to 12, we draw Cryptic, which again, not so great. Taking 3 here. I passed the turn without doing anything, so I decided to pass. We didn't need to take the 3 damage, we could have passed anyway, but obviously I didn't want to miss out on a potential Mana Leak opportunity. The Drown of Hope tries to come down. It's going to eat our final leak, but we have still not played a land. Sulphur Falls comes down. We draw into Sulphur Falls, so we do finally get land, but we kind of need a few more to actually get anything good going. Ideally at least one more for this Cryptic to become usable. That's another Drowner of Hope. Nothing we can actually do about that, unfortunately. And then he eats up the Eldrazi Sands to drop a Reality Smasher. Again, nothing we can do about that. Yeah, I'm gonna drop the Snapcaster and put path on the flashback. So we're going to pass away the Reality Smasher here, and we're just going to pitch our Spell Snare to that because that's not doing us any good. We're into Spreading Seas, a little late for our liking, but we can get rid of his Ivugin here, and there isn't a whole lot else to do with the cards we have in hand, unfortunately, so it's at least going to draw us into a card and ideally another land. But no, it drops us into a Resto, so not drawing the best. Hasn't worked out entirely well. Opponent dismembers, tries to descend our Snapcaster. Going to get to use the Dispel here to keep our Snapcaster around. I'm thinking of blocking the Drowner and bolting at the moment, potentially, but opponent has Thought Not Seer, which gets to steal a card out of our hand. He ends up taking the Cryptic, which is very reasonable. That could be a potential way we could do something clever. But yeah, at the moment things looking very bad for us. For Serum Visions, which still doesn't find us a land. Unfortunately, draw Helix as well, which is can at least sort of gain us some life. But he has another Drowner, which means that he can then tap down our Snapcaster and just attack in for 9, which is just leaves us dead. So yeah, didn't go very well. Got a bit unlucky, I would say with our land draws. I suppose it was a slightly risky keep, but we do run a lot of lands and we would have expected to draw a few more, so yeah, kind of got a bit unlucky. He didn't have the most ridiculous of starts, which is obviously good for us, but just once the action started coming, then it didn't really stop. He had Drowner, I think he had 2 Reality Smashes, didn't he? Yeah, Reshaper, Thought Not Seer, so he just kept dropping bombs on us, and there wasn't really much we could do about that. In terms of sideboarding, Kyle suggests bringing in the Geist, the Detention Spheres, the 4th Path, and a Lightning Helix, and taking out Dispel, Spell Snare, Lightning Bolts, a couple of Lightning Bolts, Serum Visions, and a Mana Leak. I'm not really sure what the Lightning Bolt for Lightning Helix thing is about. It doesn't make a great deal of sense. He says to diversify your mana costs. If that makes sense. Gaining life is obviously good against an aggro deck though, so it's certainly not terrible, but just a bit confusing, I would say. I suppose it's to play around Chalice then, I guess, just so you don't just get Chalice for 1 and that takes you out and takes away all your removal, I guess. Yeah, so that does make sense, I suppose. And yeah, Dispel obviously not very good. Spell Snare pretty terrible, as I don't think they have any 2-drops. Serum Visions and things are all just a bit slow in general. Blade Splicer seems a little slow to me, but he seems to like it. I don't think I ever got to cast one in this game. I don't think I actually ever drew one, so never really got to test it out. But it doesn't seem particularly great, but I suppose it is just a board presence, which is nice, and I suppose the Golem can at least kill most of their littler creatures like the Mimics, etc. So that's basically how we started, but we thought I thought I would just take the general advice of Kyle there, given that he's probably jammed a whole lot more games, and just worked with that. See if we can get this up and running for game 2. I did not quite see that. See if we can go back and view that, sorry. See a mulligan decision there. I think our opener was a 1-lander, if I remember rightly. Yeah, so we have spreading speed, which is nice, particularly on the play as we are here, but yeah, not having the 2nd land is just a bit too much of a risk for my liking. Yeah, otherwise we've got good cards that we would like. Mana Leak's nice. Bolt can deal with their early creatures. Snapcast is always great. Cryptic can do a whole lot as well. Tap down their team, buys an extra turn as well. But I just can't really run with that hand. With mulligan, obviously this hand is very land heavy, but it does have the turn 2 Spreading Seas, which I think will be fairly good for us. I'm assuming he's going to lead off with a Eldrazi land, so that seems like it could be very good for us on the play here. See a Snapcaster on top, which I'm happy to keep. Snapcaster and Bolt are a fairly good combination. I just lead off with Steam Vents. I'm going to play untapped, just so we can use the Bolt if necessary. Then drops an Eldrazi Mimic. And nothing further. We could have bolted that there, I suppose. I don't dislike that too much, but yeah, I decided not to. Might have been worth just killing that there. So Spring Speed goes on the Eldrazi Temple, so now he's not got that super fast mana. Unfortunately, he doesn't have an Eye of Ugin or anything like that to follow up, so he's just dropping a second Eldrazi Mimic and getting him for 2, which is fine. That's certainly something we can deal with. We draw into a Colonnade, which is fine. Get some of these guys. We've got the removal to deal with these, so I figure we might as well now, particularly before he plays anything big that can then grow them. Kind of feels like a shame because kind of our end game is probably going to be burn related, and throwing away all our burn spells at his creatures, particularly his very small creatures, seems kind of like a waste, but I think it's probably the right thing to do. Although Eldrazi kind of looks like Tron, it is an aggro deck, so dealing with their early creatures is fairly important if we want to stay alive. So playing the Snapcaster here, we just look to remove the Eldrazi Mimic here with the Lightning Helix. It's kind of a bit weird. Ends up getting hit with a Stubborn Denial and I can't pay the 1, so maybe I got a bit greedy there. Maybe we should have just gone for the Bolt, but I certainly wasn't expecting Stubborn Denial. Probably should have been, I guess. We can still trade with the Snapcaster Mage. I decided against it and decided to just get in here. We can maybe get our Colonnade going and get some aggro going. Ideally. Your Spreading Seas, I didn't want to put that on a Ghost Quarter or anything because he can potentially blow that up and then prevent us drawing a card. So I suppose that would have probably been better than him going down to 2 lands is probably worth us losing out on the card draw, if that was something he was going to do. Yeah, I kind of regret not doing that now, particularly as we've got a Colonnade that we kind of want to protect as well from that Ghost Quarter. So he plays a Matter Reshaper, which is annoying in a lot of ways. He tries to use his Eldrazi Mimic, which I'm going to kill off. We draw a Resto. He attacks with Matter Reshaper. I'm going to drop in Restoration Angel to block that. And we can also blink the Snapcaster, which allows us to flashback our Lightning Bolt from the graveyard. So, get to kill off the Matter Reshaper. I think he gets to drop a Ghost Quarter off the top. And then he plays a Thought-Knot Seer, which ends up taking our Spreading Seas, rather annoyingly. Not that we had a particular big target for it. I didn't know whether we should be just keeping the Spreading Seas for use. It's kind of part of the hesitancy in using it against the Ghost Quarter earlier, which doesn't do a great deal. We're going to activate Colonnade here. We've got no cards in hand, so we're just going to activate Colonnade and attack here, which can do a nice 7 points of damage here. So feeling fairly good about our position here. Put our opponent down to 8. Opponent's going to attack with Thought-Knot Seer. I don't really want to block that. I'm not particularly interested in blocking at the moment. And he follows up with a Phyrexian Metamorph, which is another card I haven't seen much in Eldrazi decks. So it was a bit of a surprise, but yeah, he's going to use that to copy the Restoration Angel, which makes attacking a lot more difficult. Draw another Colonnade, which is very good, as ours is about to die to a Ghost Quarter, unfortunately. Let's get another land into play, I guess, at least. And we have the follow-up, which is good. So we'll get fetch another land, fetch a mountain here, and then we're going to drop our Celestial Colonnade. Attacks with Thought-Knot Seer, which is fine for now. I'm going to just take that. He's got 5 mana, so he's still not able to play a Drown or Evoke or anything that we'd be super worried about. But yeah, he drops a 4/4 Endless One, which is a bit of pressure, but we draw a Restoration Angel, which is really good for us here. Sorry, everything's a bit laggy and slow. So he goes all in on the attack, and we're going to just block the Resto, which is just going to hit. The Restos are just going to hit each other and not do anything. And then we're going to drop a Resto, which is going to allow us to blink the Snapcaster and keep it alive, and allow us to flash back a Lightning Helix from the graveyard, I believe, which sets up the lethal attack for the following turn. So he goes down to 5, we've got 6 points of damage in the air, so short of him playing like a Sky Spawner, I guess, we've got this wrapped up. So yeah, we draw Mana Leak, and yeah, our opponent concedes, having played the Thought-Knot Seer there. So yeah, we could have still lost, I suppose, if he had the Sky Spawner or something like that. Not sure if he's running them though, but yeah, and ended up narrowly working out in our favour that game, fortunately. So let's go on to the third and final game. Obviously we're on the draw here. Our opening hand, which is pretty nice. I couldn't really ask for much more. Got the Serum Visions. We're gonna have the turn 2 Spreading Seas, which is great. Mana Leak could be very good. Geist could be very good as well, if he doesn't have much going on in the early going. So I'm fairly happy with my hand. He leads off with a Temple, doesn't have any plays, which is good for us. I'm going to Serum Visions here, fetching up a Hollow Fountain, I think. Obviously, the important thing is to get some lands going for us, so we can use our other cards. We've drawn a Detention Sphere. We want to get to that playing Geist and Resto, etc. Which should be very good for us. So we see Snapcaster and Detention Sphere on top, which is just going to bump to the bottom in favour of trying to get some more lands going, and we pick up a Lightning Bolt as well. And then our opponent plays an Eye of Ugin, which is extremely depressing. Yeah, I mean, it's a little more depressing than this run of plays, basically, on the draw. Our opponent is just going to drop Eye of Ugin, and then he has the Thought-Knot Seer, which will rip out the Spreading Seas from our hand, and basically that's game, to be honest. Not to spoil anything, but it's going to be very, very difficult for us to come back from that, as he's just going to have extreme mana advantage for the rest of the game. And meanwhile we're struggling to find our third land drop by the looks of things. Attacks for 4, I'm not going to do anything about it now. I do want to pass that Thought-Knot Seer so we can draw a card off it. But obviously I don't want to do that and not keep up Mana Leak, given that he has 5 mana available to him. So that's what we do. We end up drawing into a Flooded Strand, which is fairly decent. And we're just going to fetch here end of turn to avoid losing life later on. So, I mean, this is a decent position for us, except for the fact that our opponent has mana cards and ridiculous amounts of mana. So I kind of ummed and ahed about what to do here for a while. We could have just dropped the Geist and hoped that Detention Sphere deals with whatever he drops the following turn. Alternatively, we can keep up Mana Leak, see what he does, and then, you know, maybe the following turn we've probably got the chance to drop Restoration Angel, and maybe we can go from there and sort of build from there. Instead of dropping the Geist, I end up just sticking with the Mana Leak, mainly because if he drops like Drowner of Hope or something like that, I think we will struggle greatly to get out of this game. But I think on second thoughts it probably would have been better to go for the Geist, but I went for the more conservative play and didn't really pay off for us. because our opponent's just able to drop Urborg, which allows him to play Reality Smasher while also keeping up the mana leak mana. It actually had to be Urborg as well, which is kind of the annoying thing. It seemed like less of a stupid play when you think that actually if that wasn't Urborg, he wouldn't have had mana leak mana and been able to cast a Reality Smasher, and I would have been able to just mana leak that and go on my merry little way. So that's a bit frustrating, to be honest. But yeah, that's the Urborg Ivugin interaction there, which causes a lot of problems for us. So we're going to take 5. We're already down at 12, unfortunately. So that hits us down to 7. Draw another land, which is fine, but not obviously going to save us here. I'm going to have to try and Detention Sphere this Reality Smasher so we don't just die, which could very easily happen. But unfortunately I believe he has a Stubborn Denial, and I can't do anything about that. Ooh. Sorry about that. So yeah, he has the Stubborn Denial, which is just a hard counter, thanks to the fact that he has a 5-power guy in play in the form of a Reality Smasher, which is precisely what we were trying to deal with. So there you go, you can see Stubborn now. So that leaves us in pretty awful position. He finds another Eldrazi Temple, so now he just has completely ridiculous mana, and he has a second Reality Smasher. So that's game, unfortunately. The chat seems to have died to death, but that was a fairly short one. Turn 5, yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is the problem with Eldrazi from my perspective, is that on the play, if they just go Ivugin, Eldrazi Temple, Thoughtseize, your best card, that's pretty difficult to come back from, and that's what happened here, and we just weren't able to do anything about it, to be quite honest. We certainly tried, but yeah, just got smashed.